I'd been burned out for months, tired of city noise, deadlines, and the constant motion of life. So when I found an ad for an old country house, dirt cheap, surrounded by trees and silence, I didn't hesitate. When I arrived, the owner, a fragile, pale woman in her late 70s, handed me the keys. Her eyes looked like they hadn't seen sunlight in years. Before leaving, she said one thing that still rings in my head. If you ever hear the clocks ticking, leave, don't look back. I thought she was joking. The house was full of clocks, all kinds. Tall grandfather clocks, tiny pocket watches, wall clocks with carved faces. Hundreds of them, but not a single one worked. That first night was unsettlingly quiet, the kind of silence that presses on your ears. No cars, no wind, no insects, just nothing. By the second night, I began to notice little things. Every mirror in the house had been covered with a thin cloth. Every photo frame was turned to face the wall. And then, at around 3 a.m., I woke up to a sound that froze my blood. I sat up. It was faint but clear, like a single clock had started ticking somewhere downstairs. I followed the sound into the living room. And that's when I realized every clock in the house was ticking. The noise was deafening, hundreds of different rhythms clashing together. Pendulums swung violently. Clock hands spun in circles. One by one, their glass covers began to crack. And in the middle of the chaos, I saw her, the old woman, standing completely still in the flickering candlelight. Her skin was gray. Her mouth was open, but her chest didn't move. She wasn't breathing. She whispered, her voice low and broken. I told you, if you hear the clocks, leave. Then all the clocks stopped at once. Dead silence. I ran into the night barefoot, heart pounding. When I returned the next morning with the local sheriff, the house was empty. No furniture, no clocks. Even the dust on the floor looked untouched, as if no one had walked there for years. But when I stood in the doorway, I heard a faint echo from deep inside the walls. When I moved into my new house, the neighborhood felt quiet, almost too quiet. Old trees, long roads, and only a few houses scattered here and there. The couple across the street waved to me when I arrived. The old man said kindly,
"You'll like it here, son. Just don't go near the house across the field."
I asked why. He looked at me, his smile fading.
"It's been empty for years, but sometimes you might see lights."
That night I unpacked and made tea. Out of curiosity, I glanced out the window. Across the field in the dark house, one light was on. A faint warm glow in the upstairs window. And in that window, I saw a silhouette, small, still, watching me. I assumed it was a squatter, maybe some kid. But when I looked again, the light was gone. For the next few nights, it kept happening. Every night around 2 or 3 a.m., that same window glowed faintly. And I'd see the boy, motionless, staring toward my house. On the 5th night, I couldn't sleep. I looked out, and he was there again. So half-jokingly, I raised my hand and waved. The boy slowly raised his hand too, but mirrored my movement like a reflection. A chill ran through me. The next morning, I told the old neighbors. They went pale. There's no boy there. That house burned down. The boy who lived there didn't make it. That night I couldn't help but look again. This time the window was open, and the boy wasn't in the window. He was standing in the field halfway between our houses. I called out, but he didn't move. Just lifted his hand again, copying me perfectly. The next morning I crossed the field. The air was heavy, like it didn't want me there. Inside the house, the smell of ash and mold hit me. I found the boy's room, a burned bed, melted toys. On the wall, a photograph. A boy in a sweater, smiling. Underneath, in memory of Tommy, died in this house fire 14 years ago. I turned and heard footsteps behind me. slow, soft, barefoot. He was standing in the doorway. Same sweater, same eyes. He smiled and whispered, "Now you live here." I woke up in my own bed. But now, every night I see someone in my window. And when I raise my hand, he waves back. I live on the top floor of a crumbling apartment block, built in the 1960s. The walls are thin, the floors creak. But it's cheap. The apartment below mine has been vacant for years. At least that's what the landlord says. But every night I hear things. Knocking. Footsteps. Sometimes whispers. Always around 2 a.m. I tried to ignore it for months until one night I lost my patience. When the knocks came again, I tapped 3 times back on the floor. Seconds later, 3 taps answered from below. The next day I asked my landlord. He frowned. "That flat's been locked since 2011. Nobody's down there." I decided to check myself. The door to the lower apartment was dusty but unlocked. When I opened it, a wave of cold air hit me. It smelled like something had been sealed for years. The place was empty. No furniture. Just shadows and dust. Then I saw them. Footprints. Bare, small, leading into the hallway. And there, a hole in the wall. Perfectly round, like a peephole. I leaned closer, shining my phone light inside. At first it was just black. Then something moved. A face appeared. White skin, dark eyes staring straight at me. And its lips began to move. Cupping mine silently, I stumbled back. When I looked again, the hole was gone. Just smooth concrete. That night the knocking stopped. But I didn't feel relief. Because now I hear footsteps inside my walls. Soft, slow, crawling sounds. Last night the sound came from the bathroom mirror. A faint knock, then another. I leaned in, and my reflection blinked first.